Supadoodle gang, welcome back to I Didn't Ask for a Yappuccino featuring your host Josh. Please excuse the way I look for this video and how I'm a little bit closer than usual. You guys know that I've started to wear glasses 24/7 and I can't the camera's literally like a couple inches away from me and I can't see myself clear enough, but I don't know, like I got a clay mask for Christmas and if I don't put it on in the daytime, it just won't go on ever because at night I'm like so lazy. I know, like it's girl, like it's such a okay, whatever. So I'm wearing a face mask right now. I apologize for looking super unprofessional and whatnot. Please excuse that. But I feel like it's like, why not? Like, why do we have to always look put together when we make videos and whatnot? I'm rambling now, but you get what I mean. Like, it's totally fine to just kind of be like, again, like in the description of, not in the description, in the description of my YouTube channel, I say I want my videos to kind of be like me and you talking on FaceTime with each other. So obviously, like your bestie would wear like a clay face mask when you're talking, right? Anyway, sorry. I like jerked my neck a weird way and that hurt. My apologies if you hear any background noises. It's such a gray day today. Gray, not great. I need to enunciate my words more. If it isn't already obvious, it's been a while since I've put the camera on and really talked period. And I sound so smooth in my head when I run through how I should speak in a YouTube video and then I put on the camera and I'm like, um anyway, for today's video I wanted to give another book review because I just finished my second book of the year. Yeah, I'm really proud of that. Am I proud? Yeah, I think it's a huge accomplishment. I finished this book January 22nd. Today is January 24th. Hopefully this video will be up on the same day. Hopefully. I I need to stop interrupting my videos with like each time I messed up too. I'm sorry. Anyways, let's get into this. Let's hurry this up because my last video where I talked about the first book I read of the year, kind of, even though I started it in 2025, called The Certainty of Chance, I spent 15 minutes talking about it. And I'm already 3 minutes into this video. I hope I'm being entertaining enough. But let's get into this video and I hope you guys don't hate me for what I have to say in my opinions for this book because it's a classic, I would say. Yeah, it is a classic. Like I feel like when you think of classic books, you think of Pride and Prejudice, Frankenstein, and like a bunch of other stuff. So this is another classic that I not like another classic. This is like honestly one of the first classics I've ever really gotten through. That's just dawning on me. The Great Gatsby. I just finished like The Certainty of Chance and I'm like I need to wait till because I ordered a book on Amazon literally a month ago and it still hasn't come. And I've been waiting for it to come and I'm like, should I just start reading the books I have lying around in my house? So I was just like, it was kind of impulsive. I'm like, I'm just gonna read this book. My sister got it in the sixth grade or in high school, I think, for class because she needed to read it. I never actually got into reading The Great Gatsby for class because it's like it was never mandatory for me. But let me know if you guys had to read this in your like school curriculum and whatnot. But yeah, I do have a bit of things to say. It was a very I finished it quickly. Like the last book review I made, the last book I finished was January 11th, and then I finished this book January 22nd. So it took me 11 days to read it. You could definitely tear through it quicker because it's only 180 pages long if you have this copy. 20, oh my bad. 20 pages each chapter approximately. And if I'm being honest, I literally finished it 2 days ago and I'm struggling to remember the contents of the book because it just kind of went through one ear and out the other. I would just like to preface, if that's even the correct way to like say, like, I kind of like disclaim something about myself. I, when I would read books in elementary school, middle school, even high school, I kind of would fake read books. I would kind of like skim through and kind of get to know what I needed to know to pass what I needed to do in class, but I would never really sit down and read a book. I think I kind of BS'd my way through a lot of books, so I didn't enjoy reading in school when it was kind of like forced down my throat to like read. I more so like to read where it's like a leisurely task and whatnot. So I feel like maybe in terms of like reading comprehension, stamina, and whatnot, not stamina, stamina is like how long you read. just like reading comprehension, I'm a bit behind, I would say. So maybe I didn't understand this book correctly. And maybe some of the phrases I was just like, I don't really understand it, or like the metaphors, because like I would say like the writing itself is good. It's definitely like, obviously you can tell like it's a like this person, the author, if this is the author, there's some debate that this author F. Scott Fitzgerald stole the idea or either like the full manuscript of the book from his wife. Her name is Zelda, which is an interesting name. It's giving Legend of Zelda. Um, I didn't need to say that. Anyways, so let's talk about this book and kind of why I didn't really like it. Like, I don't want to like say, I'm afraid to say like I don't like it, because I feel like if you say you don't like a classic, it's like, what do you mean you don't like a classic? Like, it's a classic for a reason. And I was scrolling on Instagram Reels and I got this video where it was like, hot take, but not all classics are masterpieces. And I was like, wait, why do I kind of agree? Because I do understand that classics are classics for a reason. Like, they stand the test of time. They set this the they set this I was about to say set the stone. They set they paved the way for a lot of like new literary, and you get the point. Like, they're historical, they're impactful into like the literary field and whatnot, and there's a reason they're a classic. They stand to the test of time. They've made their mark in the literary field, profession, career. I don't even know if I'm explaining that correctly. So I understand, like, I'm not trying to dismiss classics and be like, I don't like them, that's it. But I feel like you can still not like them. Like, they can still be great writing, great plot, like it's structured the way it's supposed to be, like exposition, climax, blah 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 blah. You get what I mean? Like, it can still check all those marks, but a masterpiece is so subjective. Like, you could read a book and be like, this is a masterpiece to me, and then the greater majority of people are like, no, it's not. To me, I'm the same. I'm very I wouldn't say I have an acquired taste, but I not that I'm trying to be like a pick me. I'm like, I don't like this stuff, but it's kind of difficult for me to, I guess, like, hop on the train of just liking things. I I don't know why I'm like this. It's like I sound like Jughead. Like, I'm weird. If you didn't know it, I'm weird. I'm not trying to be like, oh, I'm weird, I'm different. Like, you guys don't get me. Like, I'm not like the other girls. I'm not trying to be that way, but it's like, I don't know. Like let's say Marvel movies. I feel like a lot of people like Marvel movies. I don't. Like, okay, this is so stupid. Please, I don't know. Like, whoever's watching this, I'm sorry if I made you cringe from saying that. I don't know. Like, I don't know if okay, I keep saying I don't know. Let's get into why I kind of didn't really like this book. So it's 180 pages, so I feel like you're not really gonna get really fleshed out characters, I guess, in those 180 pages. Though I know that, like, short books, they still can, like, say a lot more than longer books can, actually. I don't know if this book really is that way. Personally, when I read a book and I want to be attached to the characters, to care about the plot, care about their actions and whatnot. And I don't really know if I really found an attachment with anyone in this book. I was like trying to think, I was like, okay, maybe the main character, not really the main character, the narrator, Nick. I was like, let me see if I can kind of vibe with him. But I don't know, he kind of seemed really complicit, a little beige, a little boring. But I do feel like that was the author's intention. Like, you're not really kind of supposed to be on anyone's side, which is like, I don't read a book to be on anyone's side and kind of root for anyone, but I just kind of want to get an idea of each character. And to me, I feel like Nick, like, I don't know, like, I want to like a book. And to like a book, I feel like you have to like the characters. And I didn't really like anyone in this. Like, I didn't really like anyone. I feel like Nick, spoilers, by the way. So if you haven't read this book, I'm going to reveal some contents of it. But like, just overall, I don't feel like you're really missing out that much if you don't choose to read this book. Nick, I feel like he's very complicit. On the first page, it says that like his father kind of ingrained into him to be kind of this very reserved person. Like, don't say things. What did he say? It was like, oh, like, keep your mouth shut about a lot of things. So obviously that impacted Nick, and kind of made him this very like quiet person, I guess you could say. Kind of a bit of a rug. Like everybody walks over him, everybody kind of just strings him along, and it's like, but he doesn't like these people. Like he literally says in the book, like, "Oh, I don't really like Gatsby. Like I didn't really like him up until this point." You know what I mean? And it's like, well, then why were you hanging out with him this entire time? Why were you hanging out with your cousin, her husband, her friend? Why are you hanging out with these people and being like, I don't really like them? Like he doesn't really speak much to them. He was kind of just like there, like the fly on the wall. Maybe he's there for the drama. I have no idea. That's kind of a vibe though. But it's like when Tom was talking about like white supremacy and stuff, like I don't know, I can't recall Nick's reaction to that, but it kind of just seemed like he was like what can I do? But I'm still gonna hang out with Tom if he asks me to. It's like, bro, stand up for yourself. Like I get it. It's hard to break out of the habit of being like if you're especially if your father's like when you like form that kind of like characteristic, especially at a young age. Obviously it's hard to break out of it, but it's like, dude, you're 30. I'm not gonna baby you and be like, oh, your father taught you this way. Like you're okay. Like I get you. It's like, dude, no, like you can wiggle yourself out of this. You know what I'm saying? Like, is this the life you want for yourself? Oh, I don't think so. So let's get into Daisy. I feel like Daisy's a little stupid. Like, I think that's the way she's meant to be, though. But it's like, I don't know. This book is so weird because I was like getting into the dialogue and I was like, why is everyone kind of like saying things I don't think usual people would? You know what I mean? I was like, I don't know. These people kind of seem like a lot of airheads. Everyone is kind of really immature too. Like, the entire plot is that Gatsby, right? He's this rich guy. He had this little Kindle with Daisy, which is Nick's cousin, and then that dissipated because he went to Oxford. He had to serve in the First War, so obviously they were tethered apart. That's I don't know if I structured that correctly. And then she got married, so it's kind of like, okay, well, that chapter is closed. But is it, since this cousin, Nick, is suddenly my neighbor now? He moved. And it's like, well, maybe I can. Brief intermission. My mom just came back from the dog park and dropped my dog off. And I had to wipe his paws. And turns out he stepped on poop. Love my life. Anyways, what I was talking about, let's get into this because I was talking for 12 minutes about what? Like, what could I possibly be yammering about for 12 minutes? Anyways, let's get into this. So, you know, Gatsby recognizes that Nick, Daisy's cousin, is his neighbor, but it's like so immature. I feel like it's so middle school to be like, well, okay, let me just use him to kind of meet up with Daisy. Like, why couldn't he just have called her up on his own? Like, I think it's like it's structured in a very ironic way, which I suppose is the author's uh intention in making a Gatsby like this rich, cool guy, but on the inside he's a very lonely and kind of a loser guy. Because it's like, why can't you just talk to Daisy on your own? Like, of course she's married, but it's like you could always just hit her up on your own. Like, I don't see what his huge hesitation was. Like, obviously he said like, oh, I'm nervous seeing her. It's been 5 years since we last, like, I guess essentially broke up. So it's like, obviously I still have feelings for her and I'm just scared to rip that band-aid off. Like, it's very understandable, but it's like I just feel like Nick was so used with that. And like, obviously, like, there's no good character. Everyone's kind of like very morally gray, so it's like not on good for Gatsby for doing that, obviously. But it's like Nick is just gonna go along with it, I guess. I don't know if he takes much offense to how Gatsby used him to get close to Daisy, but it's also a little weird. I found it weird that he himself couldn't tell like what happened to them until Jordan stepped in. He's like, "Oh, well, I reserved a place. I think it was a cafe for Jordan to tell you what happened with the two of us." And even Nick was like, "Why can't you just tell me?" He's like, "Old sport, like, I just can't, like, and then he tells her eventually, he tells her more after the accident. I don't know, like, it's kind of like, it's a little weird. And then when they're all gathered up together, it was like a very hot day, and they were at Daisy's house, or should I say Tom's house, and drinking ale. It was a super hot day, gathered around, and then they left to go to a hotel because they're like, let's go out of town. And then that's when the whole confrontation about, like, Tom says, like, oh, what are you trying to do in my house, Gatsby? Are you trying to take my wife away? He's like, she loves me. Tell them, Daisy. And she's just like, like, it was such a weird thing to just kind of like go from the house to the hotel. It's like, why can't we just have done that in the house? And then what else? Like, what I do like about the book is how it really goes into detail about how you can love some, like, the idea of someone. I don't really know if Gatsby really loved Daisy for who she is. I think he more so like loved the idea of her. And in the past 5 years that they were apart, he was kind of just like had this vision of in his mind that she's still this person that he thought she was, and he thought that they could like ignite their fire again. But when that confrontation at the hotel occurs and she kind of doesn't really defend him, it's kind of like, well, that dwindled for certain. And she didn't even show up at his funeral because apparently they went out of town after the accident to kind of be MIA. And yeah, I just don't know how to feel about this plot. Like, I kind of went into this book thinking, like, because everybody's like, oh, The Great Gatsby, The Great Gatsby. Like, whoa, it's a book. Like, it was made into a movie. I remember seeing snippets of the movie because whenever my parents put it on, but I never really sat down to watch it. So maybe the movie is better. I have no idea. Maybe it's more drama, but I kind of went into this book thinking it'd be very much like Flapper Girl era, 1920s, like hee hee ha ha, party party, like synchronized swimmers in a cool pool. But not even like, I don't even think like the parties were described that much. Like, it wasn't this vivid imagery that I expected in my mind. And I know you may be thinking like, well, girl, why did you go into this book with all this bias and all this like preconceived notions? Is that even the correct word? It's like, I know, like, I shouldn't go into books, like, it's personally like when you go into something and you don't expect for it to be super great, it knocks your socks off. But when you go into something and it's like, well, I'm expecting it to be outstanding and it doesn't live up to that expectation, it's like, okay, well, duh. I know, like, I get it. And it's like, but I still can't shake that off. Like, it's not just a switch that I can turn on and off and be like, well, it's off now, let me get into this book. I don't know, I just feel like it was not as drama filled as I had wanted it to be. Like, this could have been an email kind of book. I don't know. And I feel like some of the structures, some of the writing was a bit confusing. Duh, it's a book that was published and made more than a century ago. Like, what did you expect? Obviously. Or maybe I'm just, again, maybe has to do, like, it was a pretty easy read. I thought it'd be a lot more difficult because I tried to read Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen. I also tried to listen to Pride and Prejudice while I was cleaning, and I was like, I don't understand. Like, I'm genuinely questioning whether or not I know English or not, low-key genuinely. And I was like, I don't understand how people are tearing through all these classics and convincing themselves they understand it, because it's like, how do you understand it? I think you're understanding 40% and kind of going with the rest, which is like, okay, chill. Or maybe it's just me. Maybe it's because I don't comprehend novels as well. I have no idea. But I feel like this was a bit of an easier read, but still there were some phrases where I was like, I don't really know what they're talking about. Some structures that I feel like you just had to be there in the time to kind of understand, maybe, because it just didn't really groove well with me, you know. Again, like, I don't know, I was just expecting it to be like this whole like party, like, oh, Great Gatsby, like, he's this cool guy, big mansion, like, he's aura farming, you know what I'm saying? I know that sounds so weird, but it's just like, I don't know, like, he I wish the story was more fleshed out with the personalities, because I feel like what we were given was kind of just like, I don't know how I'm supposed to kind of be, not that I'm supposed to be rooting for these characters. I don't know if I'm explaining it well enough, but it's just like I want a book to kind of like take a I when I read a book, I want there's to be some sort of message that I take away from it, and some like I want it. Also, I want it to be like, oh, it was so good. I'm finding myself staring at a wall and thinking about it. But it's like this book just didn't really leave me with any of that stuff that I wanted. I will say, like, again, the writing is good. I think I missed out on some sort of like analogies because there was this analogy near the end of the book where Gatsby's wearing this pink suit and he's like at a staircase, and Nick narrated that there was like this pink orb underneath him on the marble staircase. And I was like trying to piece it together. I was like, what did he mean by that? Like, why was that pointed out? But then when Gatsby is shot and at the pool and Nick discovers his body and he's like, he describes it as this red orb, like his blood like coming out from his, the bullet wound. And I was like, oh, like that was supposed to be some foreshadowing. Like, obviously, there's a lot of like good elements. Maybe if I had read it as like the class way where it was intended to, like as a classroom where we dive into each uh stanza of the story. Is that even correct? Each paragraph of the story and kind of really analyze it, dissect it, and like the meanings of it, maybe I would have liked it better. But I kind of just really figured it out on my own. And what I did take away, none of it was truly that memorable, but I don't really regret reading this book. I hope I said everything I wanted to. I need to read some Goodreads reviews because I haven't written my Goodreads reviews. But I don't know. I feel like this book is just a little overrated. I wish I had liked it, and I just don't really get the title. What is so great about Great Gatsby? I didn't really take away anything that's great. Like, it kind of just seemed like mid Gatsby, I fear. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. I hope this review was not too, I don't mean to be blunt. I'm not trying to put myself up as this like Stephen King, like I know what I'm talking about, because I'm also not dabbling into writing. I've been dabbling into writing for like 2 years, writing my own stories. I don't claim to be this crazy writer that knows everything about writing and everything, and I don't want people to be like, oh well, let's see what you have to write and let's see if it's any better. You know what I mean? Like, okay, like I'm not this amazing writer, but I can still have an opinion on other stories and what I liked and didn't like. I don't need to be an expert at writing to criticize the writing. I don't know. I don't really kind of understand. I didn't really understand this novel, and a lot of it didn't stick with me. So yeah, I don't regret reading it, but I feel like if you're kind of looking for a classic to read, maybe choose something else because this one is not all that good in my opinion. Anyway, that wraps up this review. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm sorry for rambling for so much. I hope I said everything I wanted to say, and I hope that it was cohesive enough. And yeah, I don't know, like I feel like maybe I should have looked into some reviews, but I this is like my raw opinion of what I think of this book. Not no other opinions are kind of like bleeding into mine and being like, oh, I see what you mean, I see what you mean. So maybe it'll change once I read reviews and edit this video and I'm like, yeah, maybe I should have kept my mouth shut a lot about a lot of these things. But I'm happy that I finished my second book of the year. Okay, and to add more kind of like as to why like I don't really like this book as much. After I finished reading this book, I was like, I want to read something more, so I kind of just found whatever was lying around the house. And the next book was The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks. Tell me why I read this prologue and the first chapter and like the author's background, how she kind of went into reading this research, and I was already more locked in than I was throughout this entire book. Like that's like this book was so boring compared to like it was so jarring. I was like, now this is a book that I would get into. So yeah, I'm currently reading The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks. Wow, like already the prologue, it's so like crazy to me. And I recently started my spring semester in college, and I've been taking this interdisciplinary course, and I had to do research about the Voting Rights Act. So much stuff is like crazy to me about how like I, it's so much information that's so important to know. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's so sad, and it's just crazy how it's like sis, it's 2026 and people are still being racist. Like, that's. Oh, yeah, this book is racist, by the way. What did we expect? It was a century ago. There's some, like, anti Semitism, discriminatory against, like, black people, too. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, I want to kind of show you guys these other books that I plan to read for the year. I have a stack right here. I want to get into this book, Colson Whitehead, The Underground Railroad. This is the large print, so that's why it's so huge. Want to get into it. I read like a chapter of it and it was a bit difficult to kind of like comprehend the writing, but I think that's because I wasn't really in my reading groove, because now I am. So I definitely want to get into that. I also want to reread Jill Paul, The Lost Daughter. This is kind of like the sequel to The Hidden Wife, The Secret Wife. That book got me into reading, dude. That book is so good. And this is the sequel to it. It's a thick book. I can't believe I read that like 2 years ago and was like, eh. You know what I mean? Like, I'm kind of proud of myself for that. So yeah, oh yeah, it says it right here. The author of The Secret Wife. I want to reread this because I remember it being really good. If you guys haven't read The Secret Wife, read that. It's so drama. It's so drama. And again, it's the story has morally great characters, but yet you're kind of rooting for someone. I feel like I need to root for someone, and The Great Gatsby just didn't really have me rooting for anyone. I want to read Fallen by Linda Castillo. Castillo? I think that's how you say it. This book was so good. I remember rereading it, by the way. I remember reading it sophomore year of high school, and I was like, I guess I gotta read. Like, I wasn't really in my reading groove in high school. I was like, I don't read. Like, I'm just not the girl that who reads. And then I read this, and I was like, okay, like, this is a mystery book. You guys know how I typically go for a romance. This was good, man. Oh my god. So this, I haven't read this book. I BS read it in middle school. I bought it for like a reading club I was doing in middle school for a class. And I remember my friend in the reading club, she said the main character is agoraphobic. By the way, The Woman in the Window by AJ Finn. Agoraphobic, which means that they're afraid to go outside. And I thought that my classmate was talking about my teacher because we would kind of gossip about them. And I was like, oh, they're afraid to go outside, but we had to do like fitness in the morning and they were literally outside. So I was like, I'm confused. How are they afraid to go outside, but they're outside in the fitness? And then I realized when I read like the first chapter that they were talking about the main character of the story. But again, I BS read it. I don't even think I finished it. I just kind of was like nodding my head, like, yeah, I agree, I agree, I agree. Like, I was so terrible as a kid. I'm terrible. I mean, I wasn't terrible. I was kind of bad. You know what I mean? So, anyways, I'm gonna read this thick book. I think people said they didn't like it, but I just want to see what it's all about. Then I want to reread The Iron Widow. I read this along when I read the. What did I just talk about? The book, The Lost Daughter. I read that along with this, and then I read Circe. I was kind of in my reading era, you know what I mean? And then I read this book, and I didn't really like it, to be honest. But I want to reread it because maybe my opinion changed. But I didn't really like this book at all. It kind of gave like Attack on Titan, but with Chi, Fox, Chrysalis, and it's like, I don't really get it. And I also feel like the chemistry between the love interests just really wasn't there, in my opinion. I want to read. This is another classic that I want to get into. I hope it's an easy read. I doubt it though. Oliver Twist by Charles Dickens. My sister read this literally in middle school. I don't know how she's tearing through all these classics and being like, I understand it. I don't know how people do that, but I want to see if I can tackle this eventually. Eventually, eventually. Another classic, Fahrenheit 451. I read like a chapter of this. Great description, great writing. I was like, whoa. So I think I'll like this. My sister really liked it, so I want to get through it. Seems like a quick read. This book. This, I started reading it, The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne. The 40 pages into this book, it's the author yapping about his like desk and how he wrote this story. And I was like, can you just put my fries in the bag? I don't know how to feel about this story. I wish I picked the picture of Dorian Gray. I bought this at Barnes and Noble when I bought Sense and Sensibility because it's like, I want to read, and then I never read it. And then I started trying to get into reading this, and I was like, why is this so? I even have the thing in it. Where did I stop off? It's so boring. It's so boring. Oh my god. I'm just not understanding this. Again, I read 142 pages and I don't remember much. I need to reread this. I just want to reread it, but I DNF'd it. But I probably will DNF it again. I have no idea. So yeah, that's kind of my compilation. Oh, also compilation. That's kind of my compiled reads that I want to get into. And then Divine Rivals. My dad bought that for me for Christmas. I want to get into it, but I know that it's a duology. Is that right? There's a second book, and I am trying to wait till I need to buy some more things so that I can buy it along with my other things on Amazon, so that once I get into reading that, I can immediately go to the second book because I don't want to kind of be left hanging. But again, that's not the book I ordered on Amazon that hasn't come. I ordered the Something Life of Isadora Bentley by Courtney Walsh. It has yet to come. I ordered it a month ago. I contacted customer support and they're like, "Oh, it's being sent." But when I go on my Amazon account, it's saying like, "Oh, a date is not like we can't tell you the delivery date." And I literally, the day I finished The Certainty of Chance, which is the first book I finished of the year, I was like, it's supposed to come today, so I was like, it's perfect. I just finished this book and my new book is coming, so I can easily delve into that, and then I can start Divine Rivals, and then I can buy the second book to that, and then get into my reading groove. You know what I mean? I just want to get into my reading groove. And then it didn't come, and that's how I started reading this book. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I would like to take a moment to talk about I have this document of petitions in my link tree, but I'm just gonna leave the Google Docs in my description. Please take a look at that. I have a compiled list of a bunch of petitions. There's so many things occurring in this world, and I hope this video isn't kind of like out of touch, like, oh, there's so much things occurring in this world, but I'm gonna do a review about Great Gatsby. I feel like the best way to kind of advocate for the things that are going into this world is to slip it into regular entertainment, kind of embed it into the stuff you would usually make content about, because I feel like that's the best way to uh kind of reel the audience in, because they're very reluctant to watch a video about like current events. But when you advocate about in your video that they click to watch for entertainment and content purposes, they're more likely to, like, I think, be sat and really listen up. There's so many things occurring in this world, and I'm very devastated about the state of livelihood. It feels like we're regressing. It feels like it's so dangerous to just go out in the streets nowadays. And my heart goes out to anybody who is going through a lot of things and feels unsafe, is going through a lot of anguish and despair. I hope that everything will be good and return to normal, hopefully. So, and the best way to do that, I feel like our voices are getting shunned a lot by all these powerful organizations, but signing petitions, it's the bare minimum. You know what I mean? So, take a look at the petitions. I need to update it, but by the time this video is up, it will be updated. So, take a look at that. Sign anything you can to help make this world a better place for everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good one. Stay safe. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope the January is treating you well. Thank you for watching. Bye.